This is the future.
So, good evening, everyone. So, my perspective is little different because you asked this question that what would be the strategy related to resilience, cyber resilience. Now, when we talk about strategy, it is more specific to either industry or an organization. So, if I talk about the capital market in general, you know, then the strategy would be like this, you know, look at the context of the industry. We have got almost 14 crore of demat accounts today, right? Which means these are the potential investors in the market. Every month we are adding almost 40 lakh new investors. So look at the scale, the way it is growing. So therefore, what is most critical for this industry would be to ensure that every potential investor or every investor should be allowed to carry out their transactions without any glitch. So therefore, for an industry like us, what is most critical in terms of strategy would be to ensure an operational and cyber resilience framework and continuously give an assurance that it is working well. Having a cyber resilience framework is one part of the story. The other part of the story is to how do we ensure that it is working for all the time. And when we talk about cyber resiliency, among all the four phases, what we call identify, detect, and defend, detect, and then recover. The focus is now shifting towards recovery more than the detect part, because detection is given, detection is granted. You have so many tools available. You have antivirus tool, you have DDoS system, so many technologies are available, which are giving you an assurance that your security systems, your infrastructure, your infrastructure or application components are already protected. But we all know, as a security professional, as a technology professional, that nothing is granted in this world today. The way the threats are emerging today, nobody can say that our systems are protected. So therefore, our focus should be in terms of a strategy is to see what are our resiliency component in terms of recovery, how soon we can recover if something goes wrong. So the entire focus is now shifting towards resiliency, where we have to continuously test the framework around which the systems can recover on its own at a much faster pace. And towards that, I would suggest, or in fact, the industry is already, maturing towards that, thanks to the regulator also, because unlike other regulators like RBI and others, see, the market regulators today, capital market regulator today is more prescriptive in terms of what should be done in order to make sure that the market is resilient in terms of cyber, in terms of operational. So there is one component is actually putting in place a strong governance framework where you should have a policy. Policy should cover all the aspects of cyber resiliency, including the cyber crisis management plan, where all the scenarios have to be documented. And then once you document the scenario, then are you able to test it on a periodic basis to make sure that your security tools are effective enough? The efficacy of the tools are proven at every point in time. And that has to be ratified by an independent person. So if I have my tool and I know it is secured and I am certifying that, that is not sufficient, right? So governance framework demands.
If may I interrupt there? So how do you ensure that the security and integrity of this platform work?
Yeah, so security and integrity is something to be tested on a continuous basis. So one aspect of security and integrity is to see that who all are accessing the system. Okay. So that's where I think we just spoke about zero trust, right? So we should have a clear demarcation between trusted network and an untrusted network. And we need to see the controls which are there between the trusted and untrusted network. Those controls are effective enough. For example, in many of the capital market scenarios, we have, a segment of brokers who are co-hosted. Now, this is something which is untrusted because you don't know which systems are they, right? So what kind of controls that we put in place so that you know that even it is an untrusted system, but my core system, my protected systems are not affected because of anything going wrong there. So tools like DDoS, okay, tools like zero trust systems which are there, that will ensure at least our core systems are protected even though they are co-hosted with untrusted systems. The second component would be you need to make sure that whatever you are doing, that is comprehensive in nature. So when we talk about cyber resilience, the first component is the assets, right? It is very easy to say that we do a VAPT, but can somebody say with confidence that yes, 100% of my assets are covered under VAPT? Difficult to say, because it is the maker who himself is certifying, yes, all my systems are covered, right? So at industrial level, the framework is so robust that it requires a third party. And in fact, in our industry, it is the board who has to certify that all my assets, critical assets, are covered in the risk assessment. So that is, I would say, a kind of a paradigm shift, which gives an assurance. And somebody talked about trust, because banking is about trust, capital market is about trust. So you develop trust.
Insurance industry as well.
Correct. So insurance is also about trust. And the trust comes when you get a certificate by a third party. Correct. So therefore, it is very essential that apart from tools, technology, processes, governance is the key in order to ensure that we are cyber resilient.